Okay, hello everyone. It is late at night and it has been a long day of writing and editing, and maybe I'll record more of these and just call them Troy's late night rants or whatever you want to call them. But I want to talk to you today about something. So, we talk a lot in author advertising about cold traffic, right? And this is more on the business side of writing than the craft side of writing. But I just want to let you know about some of these things that are happening because it takes away from your ability to practice your craft. It wastes your time, it wastes your energy, all of those different things. So today I want to talk to you about cold traffic. So we always talk about in book advertising that it's really hard to get cold traffic to go and do what you want them to do. So reaching a cold audience on Facebook and sending them to an Amazon landing page to buy your book is usually a low percentage of conversion, or relatively low in the world of marketing. And the reason is those people have never heard of you, more than likely. You're not advertising to your audience, you're advertising to a broader audience, trying to bring your audience in. So often it's easier to generate those people and turn them into leads in your email list than it is to get them to go cold and just buy a book from your website or buy a book from Amazon or whatever the case may be. It can be done, and it requires some advertising savvy and skill, but it's really hard to do. We also, like all of us, we hate cold emails and cold calls. So, like, I get calls all the time. Hey, would you like to sell your business? I'm like, yes, I'd love to sell my author business. Are you going to write my books for me? All of those type of things. So, whenever you go in business, you have an LLC, you're going to get cold calls from places that want to buy your business or give you a business loan or all of the different things, right? And you're going to get cold emails, and the emails are reaching out to you as someone you don't know, that you've never heard of, or maybe heard of vaguely, or whatever the case may be. And they're going to want to promote your book or make a movie out of your book or whatever. And Stacy and I have talked on our podcast, Pros Talking Pros, about the different scams that authors face. But I want to give you an example. So, 3 or 4 times a week, someone will reach out to me on LinkedIn. Now, usually it's someone from a foreign country. They're clearly not Americans. Sometimes English is pretty obviously not their first language. Not that that's a problem, but and sometimes it is. It's clear that they have a clear command of the English language and stuff like that. But most of the time, they do not understand the publishing industry at all. But I'm going to share a conversation with you that I had on LinkedIn just this week. Now, most of the time, I just don't engage with these people because I know from the start, from the opening line, as you're going to see from this guy's messages, that they are a scam, right? And all they're doing is trying to take my money, right? But we don't know that yet. Okay. So, and maybe if you're new, you might even fall for someone like this reaching out to you in your inbox. Okay. So, first of all, the person reaches out to me absolutely cold on LinkedIn. We've connected on LinkedIn because they sent me a connection request. But this is the very first conversation and interaction we've had. They've never commented on one of my posts, never liked one of my posts, and clearly haven't really thoroughly examined my author profile on LinkedIn, right? Otherwise, they would know, right? They would know and understand something about me and who I am. Okay, but they didn't do any of that. So the first message I get from this guy on LinkedIn says, "Hi, Troy. Have you ever done a press release or billboard push for your book yet?" Now, there's some red flags here immediately. First of all, have you done a press release? Press release for books don't work anymore. We have 4 million books a year published on Amazon. Nobody pays any attention to a press release. You releasing a book is not news unless you're a celebrity or someone that people know. Okay. It's not news. As a journalist, you get hundreds of these things a week. You rarely ever want to act on one of them, especially when it's about someone's book. right? It's almost impossible to make that press release compelling enough to get the attention of a local reporter unless you're in a very small town that doesn't have much news and you have a very small town newspaper. And those are very rare nowadays. But hey, maybe it would work there. But a broad press release is not going to work. Right? We know this. And so immediately when any PR person or promotion person reached out to me and says, have you done a press release yet? Press release, the words press release are an automatic red flag. Secondly, billboard push. Billboard push is really interesting. With digital billboards, you can do some affordable things, and doing billboards is not an absolutely terrible idea, but it's not the one I'd lead with if I was pushing a marketing plan to someone. Okay. And then he says, for your book yet. Now, I've written over 30 books and they are all over LinkedIn, right? I don't make that a secret. It's not anything that's hidden. And if you Google me for more than 30 seconds, you're going to find that I have several books, right? So he didn't even take this step, right? This is an automated thing, more than likely, that he just reaches out to anyone with author in their profile, and this is what he leads with. Well, clearly, he doesn't understand some things about the publishing industry. But hey, maybe I could be wrong about this guy. So I respond and I say, press releases are not effective. And which one? I have over 30 books, right? So I get an immediate response, almost immediate, which tells me there's not much thought in it, or this is an AI response, or whatever the case may be. So he says, hey, Troy, totally hear you. Most press releases out there are just fluff articles with no legs. But with over 30 books, which is incredible, by the way, you're actually in a prime position to flip that. You're not missing marketing, you're missing amplification. Okay. There could be an argument made there that a press release is amplification, but amplification to what market? And there just isn't much of a market for press releases anymore, as I said. But then he also says, think author brand visibility across platforms like Google Books, Walmart, Goodreads, Apple Books, plus a central campaign that pushes people from one book to the next automatically. That's what we specialize in, building a long tail author funnel that keeps working even while you sleep. Now, this all sounds pretty good, except for, first of all, the first things that he offered, press release and billboards, have nothing to do with author brand visibility across platforms like Google Books, Walmart, Goodreads, etc. Right? And if you're a smart author, you're already in those markets. Now, if you're really savvy, you're advertising in those smaller markets where fewer people are than Amazon and stuff like that, right? So you can make sales there. You can actually make money there. But okay, so given the benefit of the doubt, I said, there may be. There's a lot of people who offer your type of services. What sets you apart? And what would a campaign look like for me specifically? Because I get three or four of these offers a week through LinkedIn, and one immediate red flag is when they say we offer a press release. So I'm telling him, this is a red flag that you put here, right? I used to write a lot of them as a journalist. I got hundreds of them a week. How would you make my work and me stand out in that sea? So what's his plan, right? I'm giving him an opportunity to win me over and to explain. And I say, what is your record for doing so in the past with clients? And can I contact these clients and ask them about their experience? Now, this is one of the first things that you should do when one of these people reaches out to you on any platform, even through email or whatever, and they're talking to you about how they're going to promote your book. Say, hey, who have you done this for before? And can I talk to them and ask them about their experience? Right? And so this guy comes back and he says, I hear you loud and clear. Most people pitch press releases like they're magic bullets, but the truth is a press release alone doesn't move the needle anymore. What sets Rushmore, which is apparently the name of his company, apart is that we don't just distribute content, we engineer visibility. Now, I want you to understand what he's saying here. We're going to build visibility for you. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. That sounds wonderful, right? We all want somebody to engineer visibility for us because as authors, our biggest obstacle is discoverability. right? So he lists off these things that how my campaign with us would look different. Tailored positioning instead of a one size fits all release. We build messaging that highlights your unique author voice and book value so it doesn't get lost in the noise. Now, notice he has never switched from to plural books except for in one message, only once. Only once. The rest of the time, he's all still talking about a single book, which what makes me think these are automated, perhaps AI messages, or they're copy and paste things that have very little relevance to any one particular author in particular. Multi-channel placement beyond Fox, USA Today, MarketWatch, and 200 plus outlets. We also push campaigns into reader-centric spaces. Goodreads features, Amazon A plus content, niche book signings, podcasts, and social features. Now, there's an issue with this. Amazon A plus content is not a reader-centric space. It is a part of your landing page on Amazon, right? So that's not even what this is when he includes it in this list. Then Goodreads features, niche book blog, podcasts, and social features where your audience actually hangs out. All of that sounds good, right? He says, number three, a bestseller roadmap. Each author we work with is paired with a dedicated literary project manager. Think a strategist, not a service rep, who navigates your entire journey from optimized Amazon visibility to curated signing events and high exposure fairs. Hmm, interesting. Now he offers me some proof of impact. Now, this is key. Number four, proof of impact. Authors like Jason Hill, Even the Sun Will Die, and Farid Asar, The Serpent Skin Drum, have leveraged our campaigns to move from quiet launches into sustained visibility. Their websites and recognition came as a direct result of our structured roadmap. Ooh, he gave me some examples. Now, what should I do with those examples? Well, I should look them up. That's what I should do. And that's exactly what I did. So I went and looked it up and I said, this book is your example. Now, I want to show you briefly this Amazon listing of this book because this Amazon listing is amazing. It's only an ebook available for $4.99. This is an author that also has other titles, but somehow he's got two author profiles on Amazon, both of them linked to this particular book. Due to its large file size, this book may take longer to download. What that means is it's 18.1 meg, which isn't huge for an ebook file, but what it means is that the formatting was done probably incorrectly, right? And it's going to take too long to load. It's not going to take too long to download, but it's just a weird message, right? And then we come down and there are no sales and no reviews. And this was released August 24th, 2025. Now, I want to tell you the thing is, what this guy was offering on LinkedIn was going from quiet launches to sustained visibility. Now, at this point, we're over 10 days since this book has been released, and we have no reviews, no rankings at all, no sales, zero, right? There's no videos. The author photo is a terrible author photo, and the bio is absolutely terrible as well. And there are no customer reviews. Okay, so sometimes you'll go a little while without reviews because of the way Amazon has changed the review system and things like that. But if you got a review team, usually on launch, you want to have some reviews, right? But you would have some sales if you've got this company working for you, right? They're doing good things. They've got a bestseller roadmap. They're amazing. And so I say, this was just published, has no reviews or rankings on Amazon after 10 days, so there's no sustained visibility here. Can you explain that to me? What have you done for this author on launch that has worked apart from Amazon? It appears there's no print book of this either, just an ebook priced oddly for a book launch. And when I searched for it, Asar on Amazon, I got zero results. So this author that they're saying is an example of what they do isn't even on Amazon. Probably does not even exist. There's also no A plus content on Even the Sun Will Die. We scroll down there, there's no A plus content there. Did the author opt out of that feature? And he said, you're right. Some of the authors we shared are very recent publications. Their books were launched just days ago, so naturally, Amazon visibility reviews and rankings take a little bit of time to populate. That's exactly where we step in. We don't just publish and disappear, we engineer sustained visibility over the coming weeks through A-plus content, Goodreads pushes, PR placement, and expanded distribution. Okay, all of those things are buzzwords, but they're all pretty much red flags. And A-plus content doesn't take time to populate. You upload it, it appears on your Amazon page almost instantly. And reviews appear very quickly. And rankings appear very quickly. They're updated on Amazon every hour-ish, right? So none of this is true. The key here is these authors are are fully on board with us and campaigns are in motion. What you're seeing is the very beginning of their bestsellers roadmap. Within 30 to 60 days, they'll have structured reviews to optimized A-plus content and off Amazon visibility through media features and bookstore distribution. That's the difference. We don't just drop a press release. We build momentum and recognition until the author becomes discoverable everywhere. And I'm like, this is not true. And I go on to explain to them some of the things that we did on that Vincent Landry and I did on our one of our launches, right? And I'm like, what proof do you have? And I get no answer. And so I kind of went back and said, I'm not trying to be difficult. And then I followed up one more time and said, hey, do you have any information for me? Now, what's interesting is when you look this guy up and you look up his profile on LinkedIn, he has his own book, which also has no A-plus content, pretty much no sales, really kind of a few pretty crappy reviews, right? It's nothing. He's done nothing for his own book or for anyone else's that he listed to me. And he's trying to get me to sign on with his company. Now, of course, because I was difficult, I didn't actually get through far enough to even try to sign up with his company and see what they would charge for a campaign, right? None of that happened, right? And the reason was because I called him out right away. Now, some of these people, I played with them in different ways to go and see how much does their stuff cost and what are they charging authors. And the reason I do that is not just to get my kicks because I have all kinds of extra time on my hands. I mean, it's 9:30 and I'm at my desk recording a video for you, right? It's not like I'm sitting around all day doing nothing. But sometimes I engage with these people so I can show writers what actually happens when you do engage with them. How far do they take this gambit? Now, clearly, he didn't expect me to do this kind of research and this level of research. He didn't expect me to go look for these authors and look at their books and understand what was happening there. What he was looking for was a new author who's just so eager to get their book in front of eyeballs that they'll do almost anything that someone offers them. Well, I'm here to warn you that that is almost always a bad idea. And when you see some of these buzzwords that people throw around when they're offering you marketing services, you know immediately that there's a red flag. There's no way I would open a discussion with anyone that I know as an author, even some relatively well-known authors. If I was pitching marketing services to them, I would not open with a press release and a billboard push. Those things are things that sound sexy, sound kind of cool to a new author, but in reality, they're not, right? In reality, they really do stink and they don't work anymore. But this guy's whole pitch was full of lies, things that he left out, and things that simply do not work in the publishing industry that if he was a real publishing marketer, he would know. So, just giving you a fair warning and an example of some of the things that we get from various authors at various times in our author careers, and letting you know to watch out for those things. Anyway, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to get back to writing. You should too, and avoid these scams no matter what. Thanks for joining me. Plot Dude will see you later.